Sunday afternoon. Wow. All right, we're almost there. Okay, let's start. Let's start the class today. How are you today? Did you enjoy the class last week? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, with Dr. Coco. No? Good.
Yeah.
The materials, teaching material, thank you. The teaching materials have been uploaded to the Google Classroom. Please go there to download it. Sorry. Last week, I got an email from the university, from the academies, saying that preparing the final exam. So I realized that, wow, it's already week 4. And we actually have gone through with each other 1/3 of the ways now, 1/3 of the course. Not much of time. There, of course, the class, but also important is the group assignment, presentations, and individual assignment. So I encourage you, to start working on the group assignment, because the group assignments will be due in 2 weeks' time. There is no much of time for it. And after it, it won't be the individual assignment. The final exam important? Yes, it is important. However, the majority shares coming from other sources, not the final exam. So be strategic in learning the subject. Focus on the assignments to get maximum mark from the assignment source, rather than waiting until the end and only in the final exam. So last week, did any of you go to the university, go to the academies for the offline class? Yes or no? Any of you? No? None of you? Pick up. None of you, huh? So none of you went to the academies. So you still stay at home?
Yes.
Yes, still stay home with the families. Huh? A lot of plans already broken down. It's okay. I think the online class takes a couple of weeks more until the COVID is under the well control. Right. Okay. Now a quick recap for the beginning of the subject. Do you see the slide? I'm sharing slide. Do you see it? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, good. Okay. Now, this is week 4. 4 weeks so far. So what we have covered? This is week 4. So we will, study the contents of week 4. So far we have completed 3 weeks. 3 weeks time. The first week, which is introductions to business communications, where I introduced to you the key concept. Do you still remember? Communications and business communications, the role and importance of business communications, and then we have discussed the process of communications. Process of communications, they will be, the process starting from the sender to the receiver. And in between, we have the mediums. And types of communications, so many different kinds of communications. We use different criteria to classify this. And finally, we discuss the ethics in the business communications. And we also we have the group works on the business ethics, where this is focusing on the ethics labs. Do you remember? Yeah, ethic dilemmas and ethic labs. Yeah? So that is the first unit. In the second unit, what we have covered in the second unit. In the second unit, which is focusing, we focus on the effective of the communication in digital age. And let me stop sharing this and then I will show it. Weeks here. Yeah. And in the effectiveness of the communications in digital age, we have covered 4 sub-contents, including the barriers to business communications, the plannings of the communications is the second thing, and the communications technologies, and finally etiquette in the digital world. And one second, let me show it. What we do. Close it. Right. We go close. Use. Yeah. So, we agree that anything which can lead to the miscommunications called as barrier. And identify the barriers, potential barriers of the communications along with the process of communication. Means that starting from sender to the medium and to the receiver. And we have working in the group identify so many different kinds of barriers, from the physical barriers to semantic, to more abstract like perception, psychological, technology, even the genders. And the class have worked very well in identifying it. And after that, we discussed about the communications plan. Before you do the communications, you need to plan first. They said that, planning is halfway success. When you plan things well, you achieve the halfway. So in the planning communication plan process, there will be 5 steps. Members, the first is identify the purpose of your communication. There can be different kinds of purpose, but recognize this, identify this, make sure that you well articulated, understand it, and after that you can stick to that purpose. Once the purpose identified, you need to identify the audience and try to understand the audience before sending the message to them. To gather the information as much as the information from the audience as the better. So the information from audience can be their understanding on the topic, they can be their gender, their age, the conscious. What is the conscious? What is their preference, and so on. And once you understand, identify the audience, you start to plan and design for your message. The purpose here and how are you going to design in order to achieve the purpose. After that, you go to select the communications medium. How are you going to send that message, right? And plan to evaluate the effectiveness of the communication. And this is the communication plan is more applied when the company communicate with the outside, or we call externally. So that is the second we have covered in the week before last week. And the third content, which we call communications technologies. Nowadays, a lot of technology will support our communication, especially the communication externally to the stakeholder. And this is where your group work need to focus on. Your group need to pick at least once technology. It will help to improve the efficiencies of the business communication. Here, remember that the requirement is these technologies will help you to communicate better with the outsiders, with the external stakeholders. And the last thing is we're discussing the business etiquette in the digital world. Here, this second book will focus on the digital citizenship. So that is the quickly recap what we have to cover the week before last week. And at the end, I asked you to do your homework to identify yourself in the digital communications, how polite you are, or in another ways, your etiquette in the digital world. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. And also, there will be so many communications technologies. So identify 3 technologies that you are use most. 3 technology. And also identify the technology that you think is most effective. Because the communications technology you use may be not the one is most effective. Why? Because it's depend on the recipient. It's depend on the persons who you communicate with. There's familiarity of the technologies. They may prefer a certain technology, but for you, it's not the most effective, but you still can use because of the partner's technology of the understanding. And that, like homework for you. I hope you've done it. Did you do it? The homework? Yes or no? If not, if not, I encourage you to do, because why? Because it's strongly involved in your group assignment. Last week, Dr. Kuku with you on the topic of interpersonal communication skill, where he had introduced to you the business etiquette, focusing on non-verbal communications, listening skills, face-to-face workplace communications, phone, voice, email, digital work. So that is last week. And this week, we will move to the team communications and intellectual communications. And we all will bring all such kinds of things down to very specific, common, popular activities in the company we call business meeting. So there's three contents to be covered in today. Team communications, interconscious communications, and business meeting. Right. So I will show the slides again. See, and here. Hang on 1 second. 1 second. Yes. Else. Yes. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Now I show slide again. Right. Do you see the slides?
No.
No? Oh,
Sure.
okay. Hang on 1 second. Sorry. Should be seen now. Yeah? Yeah? See it? Okay. I will try to reserve some times for the group, in case you have the questions, because the group assignments will be due soon. All right. So you see, yeah, you see the contents to be covered this afternoon. So first, we will start with the team communications. So how are you going to be effective team communicators in terms of individual and also effective teams? You see that 80%, that is a statistic number. 80% of white-collar workers or employees and partners, means that need to work with others to complete their works. I doubt this number. I think should be more. So, I think here is frequently 80%, 82%. And in terms of time use, they spend about 20% of their time. And the collaborations happening at different places in the company or even outside the company. So we can collaborate at desks. It can collaborate in terms of formally or informally, like informally in hallway, and informally in unassigned workspace. Within a room with registration means that you need to communicate, to collaborate with your team members in many different places. So, what does it mean by teams? By teams and the team goals. You know that you will join the workforce full time very soon. And I think that in 1 year's time or maximum 2 years of time, you will join the full time workforce, and you will very soon discover that the workplace is the teaming with teams, so many different kinds of teams. And like you are now as individual, but I believe that you are a team members of so many different teams. Not only team for my group work assignment subject, but for others too, and so many others. And the team seems as diverse because it's composed of different people, diverse. Dispersed means spread out, located in different geographical, digital, and dynamic team members in the workplace now. And you may find yourself that you are a part of the work team, and so many different kinds of team, like a working team, like a project team, like a customer support team, because your department is somewhat involved with the customer, or supplying teams, because you also your department, your divisions also consume important materials, and so many others at the same time, right? And all these teams are forming to accomplish a specific goal. So therefore, team, when we are talking about the team, we are talking about the diversifications, and we are talking about the team goals. Actually, the team goal, I think that we can see it as the glue to connect different team members. So forming the goals for the team is important. And here is like the common specific goals of the team. It's like the checkouts, the checking list for us. So the first is to better decisions. Why is that? Because the decisions are generally more accurate and effective because of the group and team member contribute different expertise and perspective or the insight. So they can mobilize the knowledge of many participants at the same time. Therefore, we will have a better decision. Faster responses when action is necessary to respond to the competitions. For example, competitors launching a new campaign. So you have to react fast. So you can call up a meeting for a faster responses and increase the productivities, because the people are very close to the actions and close to the customer, team members, and so. So for them, they can easily see the opportunity for improving efficiency. So improving the efficiency means that, increase. And this is the less resistant change. The company conduct a lot of kind of change, small change to medium to the largest. So as the ordinary employee, we all resistant to change because change is we don't know what will be happen because change is coping with unknown things. So when the people cannot foresee the futures, they become scared and they will resistance to whatever causes it. Improve the employee morale. Help to improve and reduce risks too. Okay, so this is the common specifics of the team because, like I mentioned, the goals have been seen as a glue for people in the team. Right. So that is team and team goals. Now, since you are a part of so many teams, therefore, understand how to develop a team is become crucial. And here is a moral that presents to you to the development of the team. And they divide it into 4 stages. And of course, this is the nice picture. However, the time you spend for forming is not equal to the time you spend for storming and different with norming and performing. Yeah? The picture here is draws quite balanced, but in reality, it's not. So any team, in order to reach the peak performance of the team, that team will undergone the 3 previous steps, including forming, storming, and norming. Forming, storming, and norming. And finally, when we are reaching the peak, we call performing. Hoạt động rất tốt và hiệu quả. So, in forming, what will be the symptom, the signs, the cues for forming? The forming is when the members get together. So they will spend time to know each other. They will be very polite, respect the other. So things go slowly, okay? Get to know each other. That's it. No any deep discussions in the topic yet. So that period of time we call forming. Đây là giai đoạn hình thành nhóm. Right? So after forming, you can say hellos and be polite to each other, but the job could not be done. So therefore, they start to assign work, and jump into the work. And by the time, there will be a lot of conflict. There will be a lot of conflict. So that's subsequent stage. We call storming. Giai đoạn bão tố đấy. In the storming, a lot of disagreement, a lot of a lot of conflict, a lot of closeness each other's. They are fighting to each others, but they're under the pressures of the task accomplished, but they don't know how, and the coordination is not so. So such kinds of things we call storming. After storming, you will level you up to a next level, understand the team members more. So by that time, you find out that if keeping quarrel, the task could not be successful. could not be completed. So therefore, why don't we find the ways to work together best? Hmm? So they start to introduce like some norms, some rules. They pose some rules such as attending the meeting on time, for example, or attending the meetings on times. So many one person speak at one time. Using whatever the rule, it would have the group functions. Is pull things together and and get the agreements on it. So that stage we call norming. Norming. And after things put in place, people know they're all very clear about the task. So by the time the form performing very high, so they move to the next stage. We call performing. Okay, so that is the fourth stage of the team development. Sooner or later, your group will experience full of this four stage. So now I would like you to go back